Tonight is President Trump's State of the Union speech. There'll be lots of guests in the balcony, but probably not receiving the attention of one particular guest. Florida Congressman Randy Fine is heading to President Trump's State of the Union address tonight, and he's bringing a guest designed to make a point. Actually, two guests. His father, Alan Fine, will be with him, and his father's seeing eye dog, SADIE. Now, on its face, that sounds pretty wholesome, doesn't it? A proud father watching his son serving Congress, a service animal that provides independence and dignity. But this isn't just a family moment. It's somewhat of political theater to make a point, and intentionally so. Because just days ago, Representative Fine set off a political firestorm with a post on X responding to a comment from a Palestinian Muslim activist about dogs being unclean as indoor pets. Representative Fine wrote, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. That line exploded. Democrats called it racist, bigoted, Islamophobic. Some called for censures. Others went further, suggesting that he should be removed from Congress. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said House Democrats would not let what he called racist and bigoted behavior go unchecked. And that's where this story pivots, because Representative Fine isn't apologizing. He's escalating. He's introducing what he's calling the Protecting Puppies from Sharia Act. He's doubling down rhetorically. And now, at the State of the Union, he's bringing a visual statement. His father, seeing eye dog, will reportedly be wearing a shirt that reads, "Don't tread on me." That slogan, of course, traces back to the Gadsden flag, Revolutionary War imagery, liberty symbolism, limited government philosophy. So what's the message? Fine says it's about defending American values. He says it's about protecting Americans' rights, including the right to own dogs, against what he frames as cultural or religious pressure. He also says the outrage over his post is kind of selective. He points to controversies involving Democrat members of Congress, referencing allegations involving Delegate Stacey Plaskett, Representative Sheila McCormick, arguing that those critics are quick to condemn him, but quiet elsewhere. Now, let's separate a few things here very calmly. First, service dogs. For millions of Americans, they are not political symbols. They are lifelines. SADIE allows Alan Fine to live independently, to navigate the world, to travel to Washington and sit in the House gallery to watch his son serve in Congress. Now, that's real. Second, rhetoric. The language used in that original X post was intentionally provocative. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't nuanced. It was designed to trigger reaction, and it did. It got the reaction as expected. Third, politics in prime time. The State of the Union, it's always symbolic. Members bring guests to highlight causes. Gold Star families, for example, small business owners, crime victims, activists. Representative Fine is choosing to highlight his family and make a much broader cultural point. Now, before we go any further, if you appreciate calm, fact-driven breakdowns of stories everyone else just shouts about, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button, drop a comment below, especially on this one, because this story, it's not simple, and I want to hear what you have to think. You can email me directly to joey@joeyhudson.com. Now, back to the story. Here's the bigger question for the country. Are we in a place politically where every provocative statement must escalate into a full-blown expulsion fight? Or are we in a place where rhetoric has become so sharpened that shock value is strategy? They just want to get a response. They want to get clicks. Because this wasn't a policy debate about immigration law or counterterrorism. It was a social media exchange amplified into a congressional flashpoint. The activist at the center of the original comment, Nurdeen Kizwani, later said her remark about dogs being unclean was meant as a joke, and described Representative Fine's response as genocidal. And that word genocidal tells you just how quickly rhetoric escalates on both sides. So, what happens next? House Democrats are weighing formal action. Republicans are largely standing back, some quietly supportive, others, just sort of wary of the optics. Fine is leaning into the controversy, as he should. And tonight, as the president delivers his address, millions will watch. Some will focus on policy, border security, inflation, national defense. Some will be scanning the gallery for those symbolic guests, and some will look for that dog in a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt. Here's what's undeniable. We are in an era where politics is no longer confined to committee rooms or floor votes. It plays out on social media. It plays out in symbolism. It plays out in prime time, and lawmakers know it. For Representative Fine, this moment is about drawing a cultural line. For his critics, it's about drawing a moral one. And for the rest of the country, it's another example of how quickly our national conversation can pivot from policy to provocation. Now, as conservatives, many would argue the core issue here isn't about dogs or religion. It's about free speech. It's whether an elected official can use blunt, even offensive rhetoric without facing removal. Others would argue elected officials have a higher standard, that words carry weight far beyond a private citizen's post. That's the tension we're in, and it's not going to go away. So, tonight, while the president outlines his agenda, there will also be a very quiet subplot playing out in the gallery. A father, a son, a service dog named SADIE, a slogan, and a country still wrestling with how far is too far in political speech. We'll see whether this moment cools the temperature or pours more gasoline on the fire, because if the past few years have taught us anything, it's this. In Washington, symbolism is never accidental, and controversy rarely ends at just one tweet.